Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Diversity is Lit Book Club. I will be joined by a few other co-hosts who will be coming in shortly, but I wanted to get started for those who are watching live. Um, so we will be discussing our May Book of the Month pick, which was The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste, and chatting about what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we would rate it on Goodreads, talk about spoilers, all that fun stuff. So if you haven't read the book yet and you don't care about spoilers, then keep watching. But if you do want to know, everything, if you want it to be a surprise, then you can close out of the video, read the book, and then come back and let us know your thoughts, feels, and opinions in the comments. We are always all about replays. So yeah, and Janine is here. Hello. I know you got I think you got an arc, if I believe, but happy to have you here and excited to hear your thoughts. Janine said, I listened to this one in audio and loved the narrator. Yes, I listened to the audiobook as well, even though I had the physical copy. I was trying to prioritize my writing, and so I haven't been sitting down and reading as many physical books. So having the audiobook for this was very, very helpful. And I really enjoyed the narrator. Oh, and Cool Gamer is here. Hello, Cool Gamer. How are you? Thanks for joining. So along with the spoiler warning, we do also have some content warnings to go through. Where is it? Oh, I usually pull up the content warnings from Goodreads and the trigger warnings database, but the author had content warnings at the beginning of the book, which was very much appreciated. But the ones that Bethany listed are morally gray characters, complicated parent-child relationships, police brutality, fantasy violence, fantastical racism, magical coercion, gun violence, politics, parental death, child death, and dying death. In addition, there are depictions of post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and depression. Other content warnings include self-harm, such as needles for finger pricking and daggers for palm slitting to perform spells, blood and gore, sexual situations, not graphic, real and fantasy drugs, underage drinking, and profanity. So when you lay it all out, it always sounds like so much worse than it is, because we're used to reading about so much stuff in fantasy. But yeah, let's see. Okay, I can close out of that. Oh, let's see. Janine said, adding body horror. And yes, if you guys have seen or if you read or noticed any content warnings that weren't in there, then let us know. But adding body horror on-page death, profanity to the content warnings, at least to me, the sexual content wasn't M-rated or super explicit, but it was on the sensual side. Yes, for sure. I know, that's why I really like Brittany Wang's No Spice YA Fantasy website, because they have like a level rating from like 0 to 6 as far as No Spice. The farthest being like fade to black kind of thing. And not getting super graphic. So I will be, well, I guess I was like, oh, I kind of want to wait for my co-host to pop in. Oh, perfect timing. Because I was like, oh, I don't want to start talking yet. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey.
Hey. Oh, you know what? I didn't introduce myself. But the two people here so far at least know me already. But if anyone's lurking or watching the replay, all I did was kind of give the intro, the spoiler warning, and the content warning. So you didn't miss anything. But I'm Holly. I am the host of Diversity is Lit and also the author of A Diamond Bright and Broken, which is releasing November 5th, 2024 with Inimitable Books. So yes, I am happy to be here as always.
Yeah, I'm Vanessa. I go by Vanessa Marie Books on all of my platforms. Um, I am a fantasy, paranormal, and horror writer, diversity reader, editor, all the different things. Um, and I literally just finished this a few minutes ago, so
Oh my gosh, everything is
I
so
am a few
fresh.
minutes late.
No, that's fine. I know we had a couple co-hosts that couldn't make it. Heather should be popping in shortly as well. But yeah, so we were just about to get into. Oh, do you want me to try to move? Where is it? Where's our little our like display names? Because I don't. Oh, there you go. Okay, I didn't want it to cover your face. There, you figured it out.
Yeah, well, I just had to adjust my chair so I
Okay.
was higher than it.
Okay. Cool. Um. So yeah, let us know your general overall thoughts on the book and what you would rate it on Goodreads or a star rating if you don't use Goodreads. Um. Yeah. Do you, do you want to go first since you just finished it? It's all fresh.
Sure. I really liked it. I think the only thing for me is I was like, it feels a little long, and I felt like it could have been cut down a bit, um, and have some scenes be shorter.
Mhm.
So I was interested in what was happening, but at the same time, there would be moments where I find myself going, okay, can we just move it along already? And so it's interesting because like I didn't want to put it down because I wanted to know what was gonna happen next, but at the same time I did want to put it down because there were parts that kind of lulled for me. Um, so I don't know. I'm kind of sitting between 3.5 and 4 stars. Not quite sure where I'm at yet.
Mhm. Yeah, I
But
just looked it up and it's like because I listened to the audiobook even though I have the physical copy. And it was 400 it's 480 pages, which is a lot. Um,
well, I don't know if it's 453 technically.
oh, okay. Maybe some of it's like the love potions and the
Yeah,
acknowledgments and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you know
The
what? You're right.
philosophy.
Oh, interesting that it says 480, but it's like not even 480 with all the extra stuff. Well, 450. So, okay. I'll give you Okay, it's not 480. Um, but I kind of agree that it felt long to me. Like it could have been cut down a little bit more, even with listening to the audiobook. Um, here, it was over 16 hours at times one speed. Yeah.
And there was a lot in it. There was a lot of world building and a lot of important information that we needed to know. So I don't think it had too many fillery stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but I still think it could have been just a little bit shorter and tighter.
Yeah. Yeah, tighter is a good word for it. And I saw some people kind of mentioning that in like reviews, maybe like yeah, tightening up the prose a little bit.
Hmm.
It was meaty yet lean, not a lot of filler.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a lot of world building, which was like um one of the things that I enjoyed. So I really liked the whole like concept with the potions and the witchers, and just like the mystery of everything, like who well, I guess I'm going into spoilers, like who killed Venus's mom and all of this stuff. And so that really drew me in. I think
Which that was another thing that I was like, I I would be interested to see once uh Alicia and Teresa are add their comments if they guessed any of the twists. Because usually they're good about that, but this one I was like, I thought I knew where this was going, but then like some of it, some of it I picked up on, like Presley's mom, who she was and stuff. But then who killed Clarissa? That actually surprised me. I was not expecting that twist.
Yeah, same. I also am like notoriously bad at spotting things, whereas like T and Alicia are really good at like predicting things, and I am horrible. So of course I did not get that. Um, I for me I didn't rate it on Goodreads yet, but I am also leaning towards like a 3.5, maybe a 3, but it's only because, and so it's one of those books where, because there was a book like that last year, Dauntless, that we read, that I feel like I needed to reread over again. Well, wow, that was really redundant. I needed to reread. I'm in writing mode, not editing mode, in writing my sequel right now. So, um, but I so I had listened to the audiobook because I had requested it on the Libby app and it became available to me like right away in May. So I started it like May 2nd, but I really like was not in the mood for fantasy. Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear her barking?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know how loud it was. Um but I probably shouldn't have tried to push it and listen to the audiobook right then and there, but I did, and I think I just wasn't listening to it at the right time. I wasn't, for whatever reason, in the mood for the fantasy genre. It probably was one of the times where I'm like, "Oh, I'm pivoting. I need like a mystery or a nonfiction or something like that." So, I feel like part of it was me this time that I'm like, "Gosh, like I feel like I should have been more into it than I was, but I found myself, and maybe it was because of the length too, that like even though there were glimpses of the things that I liked, I found myself getting really distracted and then just not just being as invested in the story. So, yeah, I feel bad because I feel like it was me and the time that I read this book, but it's definitely one I want to try to reread, like I said, kind of like Dauntless that we read last year. Which, when did we read that? Hold on, let me see.
I think it wasn't it around August or something? I thought it was late summer.
It was, oh my gosh, September 2022. Okay, so that was a long time ago. I did not reread it yet. But anyways, but yeah, so it was like a 3 or 3.5 for me just because it just I probably shouldn't have tried to force it to get the audiobook read in time before I had to return it. And maybe I should have tried switching to the physical book, which if slash when I do reread it, I want to like actually read the words to like ingest it more.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so uh Janine gave it a 9 out of 10, which is awesome. And I got really hooked on the story. I love that. I love that so much. Um, what did you like about it? Let us know. Um, but yeah, I feel like um the world building aspect of it was strong, and the twists, because I just never get those. um and right away I really appreciated like the representation too, that was in the story, um, with like there being pronouns and everything was just really great to see. And I was like, oh, this isn't even our June book of the month pick, but here we got we got our Pride Month rep going already. So
Yeah. Um, it's
so Janine said the magic system and the world building were really fleshed out. I think that was my favorite part. Venus was very interesting, almost being an anti-villain. Yes.
mhm. I that was another thing. I do like that the characters, all of the characters, um, including Venus, are morally gray characters. They're
Mhm.
not perfect. They're not, you know, uh, all good or all evil. There's like, even with um, Matrika and, her kind of coercing Venus into the blood oath and manipulating everything with the senators and stuff. Um, all of that, I was like, you would, it would have been so easy to just paint her as this all bad villain type. Um, but we see her, like, we still also see the other side to her, who is a mom and protective of her kid. Um, so yeah, I like that there was a mix, and
Mhm.
I like morally gray characters, so I like that.
Yes, me too. Yeah, me too. I think I like that because you can't predict what they're gonna do, and Bethany gave Venus a very strong why. Like, she went into the blood oath because she wanted to know, like, who killed her mom, and she was willing to do, like, whatever it took, um, to find the killer, and so it was there were like a lot of admirable qualities to her that like made us then be like, okay, well, some of these things that she's doing, maybe she's not like she's got good intentions, but maybe she's not going about it the right way. And she needs the story to figure that out.
Mhm. Um, Although I will say, she Venus annoyed me at times because I'm just like, stop shoving shit down and let it out. The part I was looking where she was like, oh, here it is, perfect. Where she says, Elder Glenn once told her, instead of facing your problems, your mother taught you how to bury them. And then she says, burying everything gave her a sense of control because she got to decide how deep to dig. She wanted to bury all the memories, thoughts, and feelings leading up to the moment she took her last breath. That was the only way to get through this. She tried to make it to the other side. Venus buried misfortunes like a pro. She buried what she and Presley did to Baldwin Tillery. She did the same for what her deviation did to those robbers. Now the events of yesterday and her reason for breathing were just two more things she had to lay to rest in her graveyard of skeletons. And I I wrote a note under that, and I was like, dumbass. The answer is to quit burying shit, not bury more. So I get this was a lesson that her character needed to go through, and towards the end we see her, like, I guess, coming to terms with her deviation inside of her and not trying to suppress it so much anymore.
Mm.
So I see, it's a lesson she had to learn, but from the beginning I was like, stop pushing it down, stop burying it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she was like you know, trying to be so strong because she kind of took over the role as leader of the family and was like, she was like putting it all on her shoulders, you know, and she's like, I have to support them, I have to protect them. And um so I know it's hard to like when she has such good intentions to like say that they're justified. So, I can see where, yeah, that's where that morally gray piece comes into play. But um Janine said, I also like that she was very much, I'm doing my thing and trying to live in peace early on, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like she showed she was strong. She was that strong, like FMC. So main
Yeah.
character energy.
Um, and that that was the other thing. I was like, I wrote down in another chapter because um, we know Presley can control his deviation. And so I'm like, why doesn't she just learn to control the thing
Hmm.
instead of forcing it down? Because that's not gonna work. And she
Hmm.
can see it's not working. But rather than trying to, like Elder Glenn said, learn how to master it, she keeps running away from it.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see. I had
You listened to the audiobook and like read along too. Did you do the same? Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Which I did like the audiobook because I like the voice for it. It just had such like a creepy, but I don't know how to creepy yet still cool voice.
Mhm.
Um, where
Yeah.
I was just like, maybe maybe you should listen to it just a little bit. Um,
Yeah, the her different voices I really liked.
yeah, there was. I'm trying to look for another note I had in here. Um, I had a lot of notes in here.
Mhm. That's okay.
Um, there was something I was. There was something I forget now that you mentioned earlier that I had a note about.
Um, oh, the voices are really good. I listened to a bunch of author interviews the last few weeks, and if I can get you some info. Ooh. Yeah, that's awesome.
I did see the author interview. Um, was it you or someone else shared in our group? That was done on Melanin's channel.
Yeah, we were talking about that last month,
Yeah,
and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched most of it. That interview got me so upset, got me so mad. Um, I was raging for Bethany and just so like disappointed in the in the publishing industry for what they did to her for the release of like her debut. Like
yeah.
what like that was so
I am not surprised what happened. It is disappointing, but I traditional publishing. I'm not surprised. Um,
Mhm.
and when I got the book from Amazon because I went to two Barnes Noble and neither of them had it in there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So wrong. But like to be like, "Oh, yeah, let me thank the bookseller like a couple hours before the book signing. Oh, your books aren't here." Was like, "Excuse me?" Like she could have just come in like 20 minutes before and then they would have had to do like major damage. People would have gone there for nothing as opposed to her being able to somewhat troubleshoot it.
Yeah.
Um, Janine, we can talk spoilers anytime because I gave the disclaimer at the beginning. So, spoil away. But she also got angry. Um, she mentioned in another interview that if she couldn't get it moved up, it would have gotten moved to this week, the day after Memorial Day. And
Mhm.
that's why it was going to have to be it was going to be August's book of the month because it wasn't supposed to come out till like mid-May and then we had other books in the lineup for June. So, yeah. But it
Um,
had already gotten pushed too. I didn't realize that it had already been like it was supposed to come out what in like March or something like that.
I think
Yeah.
earlier,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I got pushed.
Yeah.
Um, I found what I was looking for. So my one question is, when they were doing all this, they kept talking about how like um she's brewing love, even though it's dangerous and illegal. They're doing it for the money. They need the money, and they were talking about like when if she gave up her magic, uh, how would she provide for her sister, take care of her sister? Is on page 105. It said, Elder Glenn's words washed over her. No magic, no potions, no potions, no money. Reality strapped weights of responsibility on her, forcing her to sink to her knees. And I was like, okay,
Mm.
but then wouldn't that make her like essentially human? Why can't you get a human job? And even as a witcher, why can't you get a human job and get income the human way? So that was one thing that I was like, what am I missing here? Why can't they have regular jobs? Like,
Hmm.
because as far as I know, any, it didn't talk about
Huh.
at this point there wasn't any laws barring witchers from
Mm.
gaining human jobs. So it's like, why is this the only way she can provide? Why can't she do something else that doesn't put her at risk or her family at risk?
That's a really good question. Does it does it have something to do with the like the racism that was apparent in the story where it's like
It could.
you're a witcher, you can't but then they're not wanting that they're trying to restrict and control their magic. So wouldn't they want them to be like, well, I just won't use it. I'll just, you know, work at a
But
restaurant.
I get that there could be that racism, but
Mm,
at the same time, not like they said, not all humans were were that way. Like the store owner, I forget his name, but the store owner that protected her in
mhm.
that scene during the beginning, there are people like him that um, embrace the Witchers. So I'm sure there are people like him that would give jobs to them. So that's why I'm like, what's going on here?
Very true. Janine, do you have any thoughts on that? Or maybe this is like kind of a plot hole that's just swept under the rug.
I don't know. I was wondering, is this a platform or something? Because I'm like, it seemed like they were taking a lot of risk for money that they
Yeah.
didn't have to. And
Yeah.
especially when she said her mom taught her, get that bag, get in,
Mhm.
get out. And I'm like, but that's not the only way to make money. So,
Yeah, and especially when, like, making these potions, like, it's, like, hurting them physically,
yeah,
mentally, like, it takes a toll on them. It's not just
yeah,
this easy, carefree thing.
right.
They have, like, consequences to it. Um, I sorta wish the store person was addressed a bit more. Mhm. And let's talk about when Venus was killed. Yeah. Wasn't expecting that, okay.
I wasn't either, but at the same time, I was like, there's still a lot of story left to go, so they gotta bring her back somehow.
Yeah, I guess it was still just, like, knowing, like, well, how is she gonna come back?
Mm.
And yeah.
Um, yeah, there's so many. Another thing that I do like about this was like there's so many pieces when you go back that it's like so many parts that affect like had a domino effect and affect everything else. And
Mhm.
so like when she dies, you know, um I didn't realize it. I didn't remember until later on when they brought up the spell again that the blood oath was gone now because of the line in the spell into her last breath, which since she died means the blood oath died with her
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
she was no longer tied um, to Matrika. And then uh, finding out that she came back because of Elder Glenn brewing the sacrificial poem to save her, and he gave up his life to save hers. But then we find out at the end why he was even like we knew he was kind of forced into doing that, but there was even more to that we didn't know till the end, where it was like you know um, the thing with Owen and Matrika trying to bring Presley back and him not wanting to do it and like there's just so many connections for each characters and so their stories are so interwoven
Mm.
and I thought it was done really well the way each piece of the puzzle was interwoven. I thought was done really well. Um, and just all the reveals were really good. Like I said, I figured uh, the part about Matrika being Presley's mom, um, like,
That was I didn't.
well, I figured it out when what was the part when
And
they
maybe
were
if I read it, like
when they were talking about her dating Owen's dad. Not
mm,
Owen's dad. Owen Presley's dad.
mhm,
Owen. When they were talking about her dating Presley's dad, Owen, that's when I was like, oh, okay.
mm,
And then, but that, so that was before, and then later on, when Venus is talking to, I think her uncle about Presley's mom,
mhm.
and she still hadn't figured it out. And I'm like, girl, how have you not put two and two together yet? Like, there is no other woman. It's just she is his mom. I was like, how is she not putting this together? Um, but
I,
yeah,
yeah, I
um,
think it was to make it like, okay, I mean, like, she doesn't have all the answers, it was.
mhm. And then another thing was I knew that after we got that scene where Venus confronts um when she confronts Matrika and her sister Nisha afterwards, I was
Mm,
like, okay, I don't think either one of them was involved in killing her mom.
mm-mm.
So I was like, okay, so who the heck did it? Because Matrika tried to trick her into thinking Julius did. Obviously, he didn't. Um, and so she thought maybe she did it or she was involved. But I was like, the way she reacted to her when she was accusing her was like, I don't think it was her. And I don't think it was. After she accused Matrika, I was like, okay, so if it's not her, maybe Nisha. But then when she goes to talk to Nisha in the next scene, I was like, okay, I don't think it's her either. So,
Mm.
and Levi, I would have never, I did not see that one coming. Um, and, especially because at the end, we do, like, she does tell us why, um, why he's doing this and, like, his family ostracizing him and his mom, but then like um her getting the potion, or was it her or someone else? Someone else getting the love potion twice
Yeah.
and then dying, and like they tried to pin it on his mom and like keep her um ostracized from the family, and so that's why he ended up doing this. And of course, that parallels back to earlier, more towards the beginning, when we find out that that Venus had taken on this secret client, but
Mm.
she didn't realize that the client she was brewing for, she had already given someone else a potion for that same person earlier, and kind of ended up, you know, killing her was because she didn't realize she made a potion, two potions for the same people.
Mm.
And that's where I go back to saying, like, you know, there is so much in this book, and all of it is, you know, information that we do that is important. It's not like filler information just to fill up pages, but every single detail in here is important to the story. I guess it's more so probably the prose and descriptions that I would try to tighten up to make it a bit shorter.
Mhm. Yeah, one of the things that I did love with that I think, like, helped with the pacing, like, even though it felt long, was having, like, like, epigraphs, like, the clips from the Witcherpedia
Mm-hmm.
and stuff at the beginning of each, like, chapter.
Yeah.
I really liked that, and it, like, reminded me of, Scythe by Neil Shusterman, because that was, like, the first book that I read where, like, there were little tidbits of, like, world building within, like, yeah, like, it was, like, I don't know, I don't remember what it was, like the Book of Scythe or something like that, but it was just like, yeah, different book clips and like political people quotes and things like that. And so I liked that because it helped make it feel more like real, and then it did spread it out a little bit. Um so yeah.
Let's see.
And so then these they have the love potions in the back, and then an actual like brew to make. And I think it's like tea. But I don't know. But it's like one possession of the loved one, but then it has all these other things, and I'm like, are we able to like actually make these, or no? Is it fake or real?
Um, I mean, I think you can.
Because it's
I don't think they're real in the sense that they would actually do anything, but they're real ingredients that
yeah.
we can
Okay.
make.
Except for a slip of paper with the patron's phone number. Alstroemeria petals. Oh my gosh. Because that's my mom's favorite flower is the Alstroemeria.
Marshmallow and chocolate melted. Huh.
So anyway, so I thought that was fun. Likely fake, but it's some type of realism that it takes place in a setting like ours. Okay. Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to know though was, they talked about the great discovery when humans found out about witchers, but when they didn't really say that I remember when that happened, when that discovery was made and people find out about them. So I was kind of wondering about that, and then also wondering, like, just like what were the circumstances surrounding the discovery? Like, how did they become discovered, or what kept them a secret for so long, and also in the beginning, she talks about the difference between humans and witchers, and how it was like an evolutionary change that separated the species. So that I'm like, well, when did that evolutionary change occur? Like, how did people just like find out about it or discover it? And I was also wondering, like, how can they see a witcher's aura? And yeah, because I was like, that was the other thing that was confusing to me, because it seems like the humans can see who are witchers and who's a regular human and who's a witcher. They can see the auras, but I was like, how can humans see that? Like, how can they tell from the outside who is a witcher and who isn't? I could understand if it was witchers that could tell between witchers and humans, but I didn't understand how the humans could tell.
That's a really good question, and I was trying to like look up to see like is there something about like how long ago it was when they found out and how they found out, but there's no like specific date, which I found it interesting that this was set in 2023 because like a lot of like contemporary urban fantasies like don't have the date so like explicitly said.
Yeah.
Um but I kind of liked that cuz it made it different, made it be like, yeah, this could be happening like right now. Um but I'd be curious too to know if anyone, you know, knows more about that than, or I don't know if we missed something or um
I don't know. I was wondering because at the very last chapter, the epitaph in the beginning is an address. It says address of Grand Witcher Seraphina Brightwell at the winter 1999 Grand Summit. Um,
mm,
and so I'm like, did they? Does that mean they knew since then that there were witchers around, or did that come after? I
huh.
wasn't sure exactly how that all started.
Yeah. They revealed themselves around 1999, around that time. Okay, it was hinted. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But they revealed themselves. It wasn't like they were like found out.
Yeah.
Like they purposefully wanted to be exposed.
Which also brings to question why why reveal yourselves and why at that time? One, why at that time?
Mhm.
Two, why reveal yourself at all?
Yep.
And three, um, did everyone want to reveal themselves, or was it just like a group of people who decided for all witchers? Because I would think that there would probably be some witchers that would be cautious and be like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. I think we should keep quiet and stay to ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like it would be the latter. Like it was just a few people that like gave it away.
Mm-hmm.
Um maybe they got to a point that they couldn't stay secret much longer because of the technology upgrades. Ooh,
Hmm.
that's a good point. And so, do you think that there's going to be a sequel?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like
Cuz
if
I
we
cuz it's yeah, cuz Venus is like primed and like ready to go. Like I didn't know if it was like okay, like we're just not going to know what's going to happen after this. Bethany said no.
really.
That's how I was feeling. I felt like the way things wrapped up, it was like, yeah, there's still more that's gonna happen, but like you're not gonna know about it kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
I just yeah, I would like to see another book in this world though a few years after this. That's fair.
Yeah, because I thought there would be, especially considering like towards the end they were talking about this, just like it felt like this was the start of a revolution. And her deviation said there's three sides to a revolution: the right side, the wrong side, and the sidelines. It said, which side do you want us on? Um, and she says their heart. And so it made me think like there would be more, and we would see like the next what happens next with the revolution.
Mm, interesting.
Hmm. Janine said, I think it would be a new protagonist, but I hope Venus and Co. will show up.
Oh.
Hmm.
Or maybe even like I don't know, like a novella even.
Maybe.
Novella or like extended epilogue or something like that.
There's not many there aren't many fantasy standalones, so
Yeah. Does it say that on the site? Does it say it on like Goodreads or something?
I don't know. But a little surprised that this would be a standalone.
Hmm.
Um,
Did she say it in an interview, Janine? Or like an article? I'm curious.
the other thing I was going to say is, I meant she said no sequel.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
This whole thing was away. I also wanted to ask, like, what did you think about the scene where she kills a Julius?
Oh.
The one she thinks, the one Matrika says killed her mom, and she brews that potion for him to fall in love with the idea of wanting to die.
Oh my god. Oh, that's yeah, that's intense. Oh.
I don't know if this is just me, but I was like, I was kind of expecting more with that scene.
Mm,
Um, so when it ended, I was kind of like, that's it? It just ended so quickly. And I was like, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but like, I, in her shoes, I would have probably wanted to torture him for a bit before he died.
maybe that's why that scene didn't stand out to me for some reason. Like I'm like I literally can't I got nothing kind of thing. Um but that may have been when I was like more checked out, like a point where I was checked out. So oh, it was supposed to be a duology, but she only got one book. But like was it I'm just surprised that it's like when you get a book deal, usually it's like, okay, it's a standalone with, you know, potential for a sequel or potential for a duology. So for her to know she's not going to be able to write the sequel or be able to put out the sequel and the book just came out, that sounds weird.
Yeah.
Like they wait to see like how the book sales go, and that's kind of their determining factor a lot of times. So
I wonder if it's just like because of all the issues that she had with the publisher with getting it printed out and out on time. I wonder if that made her think, oh, they're probably not gonna do a second one because you know it's I don't know how well her sales are doing or going to do with all these issues that she's having. And like I said, I went to Barnes and Noble, and this was like 2 weeks after the book was supposed to be out, and they didn't have it.
Yeah, you know, and honestly, maybe this is like the best thing for her because then she's not tied into a sequel with a publisher that kind of did her dirty like that.
Mhm.
And it was supposed to be out last year. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Well, I know things happen for a reason. Like my book got pushed 7 months. So I understand that things happen, but there were a lot of things that happened with her book. If it got pushed and then again and then again and then again,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, any quotes or any last remaining thoughts before we wrap up this discussion? I saw Heather had mentioned that her phone was going to die and she was going to try to make it back to the Airbnb to join the discussion, but it seems like she wasn't able to make it. But we'll be curious to hear her thoughts and the comments for the replay as well. It just shows that BIPOC authors sometimes get screwed over. Yes, it is horrible. That would not have flown with someone else.
Nope.
No.
That's why I stick to self-publish.
So I'm grateful for my publisher. They are small but mighty, and I know they have my back.
That's good. I'm trying to see if there's any other quotes that I want to bring up.
I just love the ones on the book, like the tagline. I'm like, these are like really done well. The only thing more dangerous than magic is power, which is like, ooh. And then on the back,
No, go ahead.
weaponize your love, use it to protect you and those in your heart. It makes you brave to some and a monster to others, but not all monsters are monstrous.
Yes.
It's just really cool.
I had that highlighted in the book too. And I was going to say that the quote about only thing more dangerous than magic is power. And obviously that's a theme throughout the book, how power is sort of like the most important thing in this world and like the most dangerous thing as well. And like very true. And I forget where it was. How I forget which part it was, but they were talking about how like even wealth, even if you're wealthy and rich, it doesn't matter. Power is more important. Power is power is what makes you rich. Power is pretty much everything. And we can definitely see that throughout this book, this story, and how it parallels to real world and our politician, and like the way Matrika was able to like influence these politicians. She's a lobbyist, so it's like, if you have that power over them, get them to vote any way you want, you pretty much control the country. Which is like, at this point, why do we even have presidents or whatever? Because they're not really the ones controlling things.
Nope.
But also, that was the other thing I wanted to bring up was that was another twist I did not see coming, was Matrika being human, like doing everything she did, and her being the Grand Witcher,
Mhm.
it turns out she's actually human and powerless. And I was like, wait, what? I was not of all the reveals and sequels, I definitely was not expecting her
Which
to be human.
yeah, which, like you said, again, encapsulates that log line. The thing more dangerous than magic is power,
Yeah.
and then thinking that she had magic,
Mm.
but a lot of times it's your perception of the person and not the skills that they actually possess.
Yeah. Yeah. So she definitely encapsulates that theme.
Mhm.
Because who would have thought, she seemed like the most powerful character in here, and yet she was probably the weakest in terms of magic and what she can do.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Good for you, Janine, for yeah, indie publishing. Um, I always applaud people for doing that because it's hard in its own way. Um, so you guys are the real fighters. So
um, oh, also another quote in the beginning, page 41. I thought this was a really interesting one with Jay and Venus when they're talking, and let me see. She says, um, so Jay says, why don't you care that humans hate us for existing? And skip that paragraph going down. Uh, Venus, she wanted to live in peace, not rest in peace. What was wrong with that? And then
mm,
down a paragraph, no, Janice said firmly, hopping off the shopping cart. I want you to act like the world is worth saving. Venus stopped pushing. And what if I don't think it's worth saving? What if all I want to do is watch this bitch burn down because there's no good left in it? And I was like, that's a really good discussion point because it's like, I don't know, is it worth saving? Is it not? Humans, we are the only species on the planet that will actively destroy our own home environment. And so I'm like, I don't know.
that is so fair. Because I say that sometimes. I'm like, man, with like climate change and um, just mass shootings and school shootings and all this stuff, I'm like, this world sucks. Like, like it. I mean, there's a lot of good in the world, and then there's a lot of not good in the world. So,
That's why I that's why I said there was another part in here where I wrote down.
and terrorism,
Oh,
yes, yeah.
there was another part in here where I wrote down. This is why we always pick the bear. Have you seen that debate online with
No.
the? It's a question that they were asking. I forget what channel was, but they went around asking a bunch of people, mostly women, if you were lost in the woods, would you rather encounter a man or a bear? Most people, most women said bear. And I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you. I'd take a bear too.
Oh.
Um, But that's because humans can be pretty effed up, and you never know what you're gonna deal with when you get a human. So
Thank you, Ruff. There's a lot of bad in the world. Until I tune in to write Holly Davis. Thanks. And hey, hello. Yeah, I think like the bigger themes that are in here are really important. Being set like in 2023 makes it feel more applicable and like closer hitting for all of the big things that came up with like, yeah, you know, the government trying to control people and the racism and yeah, so it just felt closer to home, I guess.
yeah. Which she, I think she did say in an interview that she wrote the story after, like, I think it's in the author's note too.
Yeah, I think it is.
The 2016 election. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, after everything that happened, then
Mm-hmm.
it kind of spawned due to that. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of parallels and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the author letter at the beginning. There we go. I was thinking it was at the end with the acknowledgments, but yeah. Yeah, so if anyone has any more thoughts, you can feel free to pop it into the comments, or we have a thread for the book on the Goodreads group, which is linked down below. Our neighbors to the north was looking at us with some horror. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Like, what is going on down there? Y'all need help? Yes, we do.
But thank you guys for joining us for our discussion of The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. And please join us. Today is June 1st, so it is the start of Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. Our June Book of the Month pick is Lavash at First Sight by Talene Vascuni. So check out this sapphic rom-com. Yeah, should be a good read. And we will be announcing the discussion for that sometime near the end of June, and it will be in early July. So thank you, everyone, for your thoughts, feels, and opinions, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.